Come in. Oh, thank you. Come in, Don. Laura, will you bring me the rest of the files on the Hagadan? This doesn't seem to cover it.
That's all there is, Sir John.
Wasn't there a finalized report?
Well, not in central filing. The only folder there is the one you've got there.
All right, thank you very much.
What's all this? Homework?
Don't be too amusing about it. You've got to read it as well.
I'm sorry, I spoke.
Pleasure.
Well, what is it, anyway?
I'm trying to get a three-dimensional picture of the history of the Bligh organization over the last 10 years.
May I come in? Oh, morning, Don. We all look very busy.
Yeah. We like to get on with it, you know.
So I can see.
Yes, we're doing our best to catch up.
Well, I can give you any help you want, you know, so...
Well, that's very kind of you, Kells. Still, I don't want to trouble you too much. Besides, I've always found that figures give an absolutely accurate picture. Not that I'm suggesting that you wouldn't, of course.
Well, no, of course not. What have you... where have you got up to?
The remoter regions of 1962.
Oh, yes. Yes, happy days.
Well, still, you know what Henry Ford said about history?
No.
He said history is bunk.
Oh, did he? Well, I've never thought the fact that a man makes several million a year automatically qualifies him to make judgments on things he knows nothing about.
Haven't you? Still, as the man said, money can't buy you love, but it puts you in a very good bargaining position.
But it was a woman who said it, actually.
Hmm?
I said it was a woman who said it, actually.
Oh.
Yes.
Tell me, Kenneth, to get up to the present, are we going to put in for this hydroelectric thing in Africa and the new motorway?
Yes, we possibly will.
Do you think we can carry both?
Well, I think so, yes.
What are our chances of getting the motorway?
Well, pretty good, I say. We're not doing too bad a job on this present one.
But if we were too tied up with something else, wouldn't there be a justifiable element of doubt in the mind of the government that we might not be able to do it, in terms of capacity?
Well, that wouldn't really be anything to do with them, would it?
Still, these things get around. Where does the profit lie?
Sorry, how...
Of the two jobs, which would you say would be the most actually profitable?
Well, you can't really look at it like that, can you?
Why can't you?
Well, it isn't that kind of a problem.
In my experience, there's only one kind of problem. The color of the final figures on the balance sheet.
Well, isn't that a very short-term way of looking at things?
Possibly. But as the man said again, in the long run, we're all dead. Or was it a man who said that?
Well, don't ask me.
You see, it's really a question of simple mathematics. How many motorways is it possible to build in the UK? Now, the whole country consists of 94,000 square miles. Now, even supposing that Bligh's got every contract that was going, there must come a time when we would have built all that possibly could be built.
In the fairly remote future.
Not all that remote. See, do you realize that in Africa, you could put the whole of North America, Europe, excluding Russia, India, Japan, and the British Isles. Now, the people who get their foot in that door are the ones who are going to be dealing with the future.
You sound like Cecil Rhodes.
Well, it took us long enough to understand what he was about.
Allowing for all that, which of the two contracts would be the most profitable?
Well, in actual money...
In actual money?
Well, I suppose the motorway would bring the quickest return.
And if we didn't have the hydroelectric project on our plate, we'd stand a good chance of getting it.
We might.
Yes. I'd like to have a look at what we're doing on this present motorway sometime.
When you like.
Today?
Well, right away if you like.
Who does the designs? Us?
No, the ministry puts out the project to consultants, then the designs are put out to tender.
We're just the jobbing builders, then. Do they work weekends?
No, not unless there's a rush on.
Is there usually a rush on?
Well, it's going along at its normal speed.
If you could build them quicker, you could build them cheaper.
Obviously.
How long will it take to finish this motorway?
Oh, about 26 months.
But it's no longer than the M1, and that took much less time.
Yes, 19 months. It's costing $5.5 million to put it right. Well, shall we lunch together?
Oh, I'd like to. I'm sorry, but I have to get back to town. I'm lunching with my wife. Is that good?
Very good.
Good. What was it? I don't remember.
Pollo spezzato alla romana. How's your salt and butter?
I didn't have the salt in bocca. I had the frittura del mare.
Oh. Well, how is it?
Very good.
I thought you had the salt and butter.
No. What are you going to do this afternoon?
Oh, I shall probably do some shopping. I don't suppose you'll be in this evening.
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure.
I saw Joanna the other day. She said Kate is in America.
Really?
So it isn't Kate.
What are you going to buy this afternoon?
Why, I should probably just do some window shopping. Unless I see a hat. Isn't it traditional for a woman who's bored to buy a new hat?
Is it?
I believe so.
Are you bored?
Well, I very seldom see you nowadays, do I? Except when we meet for lunch, have a long conversation about salt and vodka.
Blythe seems to be taking up most of my time at the moment, I'm afraid.
Does he? John, I may as well be frank about us. I'm not interested in even discussing the possibility of a divorce.
How did we get divorce in between Blythe and Saltimbocca?
Well, compared to divorce, Blythe and Saltimbocca are rather recent arrivals in our lives, aren't they?
I see. Well, I might as well tell you now that I shall be away for the next couple of days. And you can put what interpretation upon that you like.
I see. So you won't be in tonight, and you'll be away for a couple of days. Well, what would you like to talk about now, darling? Like to go over that salt and vodka bit again?
I didn't have the Saltimbocca. What would you like to talk about, darling?
Will I see you tonight?
Of course. About 8 o'clock.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
Always doing that.
Doing what?
Forgetting to switch it on at the mains. Now I've had to start all over again from the beginning. I'm terribly sorry.
Huh?
I said I'm terribly sorry.
Well, never mind. Well, what are we going to do this evening?
Well, darling, I'm cooking you supper.
Ah, yes, yes.
Like a good and willing... whatever the word is.
Whatever what word is.
For me. The word for me. Whatever I am.
Attractive?
You know what I mean.
Inefficient.
Am I inefficient?
At cooking. I like you to be inefficient at those sort of things.
Why?
Well, it amuses me. I'm tired of efficiently run households where everything goes smoothly. You know exactly what's going to happen.
You wouldn't like it if I was your wife. You'd get very cross. You only like it because I'm not your wife.
Is that so?
Yes, that is so.
All right.
Okay, as long as we understand each other.
Well, we seem to.
Are you going to marry me?
Oh, darling.
No, not oh, darling. It's a really very simple question. If I'd asked you, are you going to get up tomorrow morning and have your breakfast, you could quite easily have said yes or no. You wouldn't have said, oh, darling.
That's quite a different matter.
No, it isn't. It's It's a yes or no question, just like the other one. Are you or aren't you? Yes or no? Like whether you are or whether you aren't going to get up and have your breakfast tomorrow.
Susan, you're being ridiculous.
Well, no, can't you see?
No.
All right.
Look, it isn't really as simple as all that.
All right.
If I were single, if there was nothing in the way, we probably would be married by now.
All right.
We get on very well together. We like the same sort of things. We even like each other.
All right.
Well, what the hell do you want me to say?
I want you to say that it's possible, just faintly, remotely possible. God knows where, and that we are going to be married. Oh, I'm sorry.
Forget it.
It's all because I forgot to turn the blasted cooker on. That's not what you come round for, is it?
Not the cooker.
No, a row.
I can get one of those almost anywhere I go if I want one.
What do you come round for? To make love to me? Because I let you make love to me? If I suddenly stopped letting you make love to me, would you still want to come round?
Yes?
Would you?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't let you make love to me, do I? Not a question of letting, allowing, is it?
Well, it doesn't appear to be.
No, it doesn't appear to be. It's just that I do actually, in fact, love you. I did wonder about it for a long time, but I do actually, and in fact, it seems. So that would appear to be that, as far as I'm concerned. There's not much I can do about it. It's just that I would like to hear you say just once, but even if you were lying, that it was faintly, remotely possible that we might get married sometime.
Well, yes, I suppose it is possible.
Yes, I suppose anything's possible, isn't it? Oh, God, I don't want to stop in and eat this meal, do you? I know, you take me out. Quiet places where we don't have to be seen. We could go to one of those sinful little bistros where everyone hopes no one's going to notice them, shall we?
If you want to.
I'll be right with you. My father. Oh, he was a parson, believe it or not, in Dorset. Actually, he was a very good parson. He was a very good father, too. Even so, I couldn't live at home. He's dead now, but I couldn't go back there to live, no matter what it's like in London. It seems to hold on to people, doesn't it? No matter what it does to them. Do you know, in that house where I live, half of the women there are separated from their husbands. They don't seem to know anyone, but they never dream of moving out of London. One of them's only 19. Divorced at 19, isn't it terrible?
Well, cheer up. Brown and mild, miss, please. You don't look so down in the dumps, stuff. Keep smiling. Always keep smiling. Helps the teeth to breathe.
Do you love her?
Who?
Your wife.
I used to.
But not now.
I think she wants me as I was 10 years ago. And I'm like I am now. Everything wears out. Metal, emotions, people. Living demands the continuous production of waste. We use up people as we use up everything else.
As you'll eventually use me up and throw sweet flowers upon love's grave.
No, I don't love her now. Were you in love with him?
Oh, yes.
What went wrong?
Well, he was married like you. He used to come and see me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For 2 years, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Except, of course, when they happened to coincide with half-term, or during August, when there were holidays with the family, or when they fell at Christmas. And Mondays were out on bank holidays, and Fridays were out at Easter. Love itself was something of a movable feast, I suppose. Nothing ever seemed to affect Wednesdays. Wednesday isn't a movable feast.
What happened?
He went back to his wife.
See.
But towards the end, I think he only came round because me and Wednesday happened to be there. You know, they say that women who fall in love with married men do so because they know the situation won't be resolved. Well, most men don't leave their wives, so the women don't have to take the terrible risk of actually marrying them and thus destroying their romantic dreams.
Is that what they say?
No, they don't, actually. I just made it up to explain myself. Coffee? I said coffee. Don't you want coffee?
Well, I can take it or leave it.
How long are you going to be away?
Only a couple of days.
I don't want you to go.
Well, I'd just as soon not go.
Why, you'll be back, won't you? Come on, cheer up. Let's see your teeth breathe.
The difference is that here in Italy they can get the money because they're toll roads, so the cash is going to come back. People are willing to pay. You don't have toll roads in England, so you don't get any damn roads at all. This one runs from Milan to Naples. Do you know where a lot of the capital was raised? The London Stock Exchange. You can't have the roads in England, but you can provide the money for other countries to have them.
Why can you build roads cheaper here in Italy than in England?
Not always cheaper, quicker. It's a matter of democracy. Everyone in England wants motorways, but not in their back garden. Over here they say where a motorway is going to start from and where it's going to go to. And if there's any back gardens in the way, they go straight through them.
I can't see the British taxpayer putting up with that.
No. Actually, if it's cheapness you're after, one of the biggest costs is in consolidating the sub-base. Now, if this could be done mechanically and reliably, something like an enormous electric vibrator that would compact all the granular subsoils, making sure that the foundations...
By how much would this cut the costs?
A hell of a lot.
Is there such a machine?
Not yet, but there could be.
Is anyone working on it?
Oh, yes. Me.
Contract over here?
Yes.
How long?
As long as I want to think.
I mean, when does it expire?
Why?
I just wondered. As a matter of fact, I'm looking for somebody to help me tackle the same sort of problems in England.
Do you think it will pay well?
Well, I should think it would pay slightly better than it does here.
Well, if it paid a lot better than they do here, I might be very interested.
Why, you probably would. Do they want to renew your contract?
Well, they want to, but I said I'd like to think about it first.
When does it actually expire?
Just over a month. But I've that much holiday due starting the 31st.
The day after tomorrow.
Why do you think I asked if I could show you around?
And who is Frank Hagadan?
I've no idea. Wilder brought him in this morning.
And he's on the payroll, isn't he? So he must be doing something.
I think he's helping John learn about road construction or something.
Wilder didn't tell you anything.
Just introduced us.
You know, Ken, you'll have to find out a bit more about the whys and wherefores, won't you?
Well, he only arrived this morning. I've, made a decision, Father.
Oh, what about?
I don't want this new motorway contract. And I don't think Bligh should want it either.
Oh, my dear Ken, you know what I feel? I don't want the motorways just for Blighs. I want them for the country.
Oh, well, this one is going to be built, isn't it? I mean, whether we get the contract or not, so the country won't lose.
All right. What is it? You want to go after this African hydroelectric thing?
Well, we've got to get into those markets. And if I am running Blighs, I must be allowed to take long-term decisions.
Certainly. There is some problem?
I think Wilder's going to do all he can to go for this motorway contract. But with what we've got on our plate at the moment, politicians won't like to see us doing both.
You want me to do something?
Well, you're on the National Export Board, and this hydroelectric project counts as an export.
My dear Ken, I can't use my position on the board to secure contracts for Blighs.
No, I don't mean that. But Wilder's on the board as well, and the board's supposed to nudge firms towards export orders. Now, it wouldn't look so good, would it, if one of the board's own people had the choice between a home order and an export order, and took the home order. But, what it really boils down to, I suppose, is a choice between what I want to do and what Wilder wants to do.
How dear Ken, you know what I feel. I'd rather see you behind me than Wilder. And it might, and you say might be better if we didn't go after this motorways contract. But I should like to feel that later you were with me. And whatever the outcome of this might be, you're still head of Blighs. I wouldn't like to find out that what you and I do or don't do has been upended by someone else. Well, driver, just stop here on the right. I'm not sure about the ethics of what you suggest. I'll have to think about it. Give my love to the children.
Well, since I've brought him all the way from Italy, I thought it would be nice to ask him to dinner.
That's pleasant. I can't remember the last time you did something because you thought it might be nice.
Well, that's something for your book of memories, isn't it?
Is he good looking?
Well, I suppose he's quite presentable.
Presentable? Men are presentable nowadays. They're either beddable or they're nothing.
Well, just remember that I employ him.
I will try to bear that in mind. Who is she, John?
Who is who?
Angela Cliff was picking up a parcel from Luton Airport yesterday.
Good old Angela.
So who is she?
I don't see that it's any business of Angela's.
All right. All right. John, I shan't sit back this time. I shall fight.
That will be our guest.
John.
Our guest.
As it turns out, we have got some information which may be of help to you. Your husband took someone home from your house last night.
Frank Hagadan.
Mr. Hagadan, yes. He took him to his house, where he dropped him. Your husband then returned a different way. He called at a house in Notting Hill Gate. And he pressed the bell of a flat which we ascertained was lived in by a young woman. The name and address are on here. Your husband stayed for about an hour. Now, of itself, this information is not sufficient to procure a divorce.
I don't want it for a divorce.
It's Lady Wilder. Mere curiosity in these things is sometimes worse than vicious intent. It can only lead to a...
May I keep this?
Of course. You wish us to continue the observation?
Yes.
Very well, just as you wish.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Or should it be good afternoon? You know, my old grandfather always used to call it forenoon and afternoon. 1 minute after 12, he always said. Good afternoon. Are you waiting for somebody?
Yes, my husband.
Oh. Does he know you're coming?
No, I just happened to be passing by and I thought I'd drop in. They're ringing through from now. Why?
Well, I think he's out tonight. In fact, I'm sure he is. I asked him to have lunch with me to repay him for last night, but he said he was meeting somebody.
Oh. Did he say who?
No. Well, since you're here and I'm here and he's not here, why don't I repay for last night by taking you out to lunch? If you don't think he'd object.
What a good idea. No, I don't think he'd object. What does it matter if he does? I'll have eaten it by then, won't I?
Yes. Right. Now, if you'd just like to cover your face with burnt cork, we'll call it an export business lunch and get it off tax.
Soda?
No, thank you. You know, I could hope that you'd invited me here just to fill me up with whiskey, but I don't think you did you?
No, I'm trying to catch up on the ins and outs of civil engineering and relying pretty heavily on the know-how of people like yourself. I heard your firm was first in line as consultants to the government for the designs of the new M27.
Did you now? Well, that's very pleasing news.
One hears these things. One doesn't know how much truth to attach to them.
No, one doesn't, does one? I mean, that's the trouble. But I think it Blythe will be tendering on the list.
Yes, I expect we will.
And what else did your grandfather teach you?
Oh, lots of things. Very shrewd old man. One of the things he always used to say was, wives are like lettuces. If you leave them on their own too long, they bolt.
Oh, really?
So he said. I'm very fond of lettuce. Now, what would you like to eat? We have some fettuccine al burro e parmigiano, bolito misto, punte di manzo al vino rosso, or how about a nice salt in bocca?
No, thank you. I don't like salt and vodka.
No?
What would you suggest?
I understand that the conditions of contract have a clause allowing the contractor to offer alternative suggestions as to how the work should be carried out and priced.
Yes, provided the original specification was priced as well.
Oh, yes, quite.
Why?
Well, we're doing a little development work suggested by one of our people. Our first price is likely to be quite low anyway.
You see?
But if the development works out as we think it will, we may put in another price.
Oh, machine, huh? Well, if your tender is lower than anybody else's, then the ministry will have no alternative but to offer you the contract. However, should you find that you can't meet the price, you know it'll be Blythe who'll have to stand the racket.
Oh, we'll meet it all right. I'll make it work. I just wanted you to know that we might offer an alternative price.
And you'll make that one work too, huh?
I wouldn't put it in if I didn't think I could.
Well, if it's the lowest, you'll get the contract.
Another whiskey.
Now, let me get you one.
No, I don't think you can. It's a club.
Everything is, isn't it?
Is that good?
Very good.
Good.
Why did you come back to England if you were so fond of Italy?
Because your husband bribed me.
Yes, he would, wouldn't he?
Oh, I don't mind being bribed, so long as it's in money.
And what did he bribe you to do?
Just find methods of cutting costs.
Do you like working for it?
It works all right. It's when you're finished I don't like.
In what way?
Well, you know how it is. You come back to a city after 3 years, everything's changed. You don't know anybody. You don't know what to do with yourself in the evenings. What do you do with yourself in the evenings when your husband's out working?
How did you know my husband was out working?
How you know?
Yes, I know. Well, I'm not quite sure what to do with myself in the evenings either.
I wonder what my snubby Aunt May would say if she knew I was sitting secretly in a pub with a married sir. She'd tell everybody.
Well, for God's sake, don't tell her.
My niece is terribly friendly with Sir John Wilder, the tycoon, you know. He built all those aeroplanes and those lovely bridges and the Ashani Dam. She knows him terribly well. No, Aunt May, I don't know him terribly well. Only 75% of him.
What do you know about the Ashani Dam?
Oh, I read something about it in a report that came in.
What did it say?
Oh, it was ages ago. I didn't read it very carefully. Well, surely you know what was in it.
Well, I wasn't with them when they were working on that. I haven't been able to find out much about it, as a matter of fact.
Well, isn't there a copy at Blythe's?
There may have been, but there isn't now.
Oh, since you've been there?
Something like that. Where did it come from?
I think it was a Commonwealth Relations report.
Can you get it for me?
Oh, no, it's classified.
I see. Could you read it for me? Look, I don't want to know any national secrets. If there's anything in it that I shouldn't know, don't tell me. I only want to know what happened. You could tell me in a couple of sentences.
Am I?
You could tell me tonight when I come round to the fair.
Can you come round tonight?
Of course. Come. I'll take you back in a taxi.
Well, what have we seen?
Don't be silly. Nobody's going to take any notice of us.
What are you looking for? I'll stay with you.
Morning, Don. Come in.
Morning.
Good morning, Donald.
Good morning.
Just how provisional are these figures?
Well, I haven't had much time.
Well, how long before you can get them out in detail?
3 months.
So if I put in a tender based on these figures, you'll be able to back it up with a program that will carry them out?
I should think so.
No, not think so.
All right, then, yes, provided you keep your wages structure stable. I've made allowances for that in there, but that can always knock it cockeyed if it isn't watched. And don't ask too much of those figures. They're only theoretical as yet.
But feasible, as far as Bly's are concerned.
Oh, aye.
All right, then.
Am I in business?
Yes, you're in business. Oh, Frank, I'd like to go over them with you in more detail sometime. What are you doing for lunch?
Oh, I'm meeting somebody for lunch, I'm afraid.
Well, I might see you later in the day, then.
Bright young man.
Yes.
John, I've been digging around on the quiet into this Ashani Dam business, but I don't seem to be able to turn much up.
Oh, I shouldn't worry about that. I got what I wanted a few days ago.
Well, where did you do that?
Well, quite by chance.
John, you don't think that perhaps you're putting all your eggs into one basket?
In what way?
Well, what if we don't get the motorways contract?
Oh, I think we'll get it all right. Provided I can kill this African nonsense of Kenneth. I'm well aware that you are just the parliamentary private secretary, Alan. But I would imagine that they'd come to you for advice, wouldn't they?
It's not a very big hydroelectric project, but it's quite big enough for a young country to undertake. And they might ask me just to keep in with the politicians, but it's the technical people they really ask. It's fairly routine. They'll come back to discuss it further when the tenders are all in.
Is it bigger than the Ashani Dam, for instance?
No. You weren't with Bly's at that time, were you?
No.
No.
They didn't come out of it too well, I believe.
Well, they did a bit of underestimating, as far as I can make out. Young Kenneth's a good lad, but he was a bit inexperienced in this field at that time.
And World Bank money had to be pumped in to pull them out.
Something in that style, yes.
But it's not World Bank money this time.
No. This country's putting up most of it.
Do you think that the Ashani Dam business would count as a black mark against Bly's? I mean, if we put in for the new one.
Oh, I really couldn't say. Well, you know how these things are. They go from committee to committee.
Yes.
Are you after it?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Bly's is quite ready for that field. I haven't been there long enough to know, but I have a sort of feeling that it's a personal whim on the part of one person and not fully worked out.
Do you? Well, certainly it isn't old man Bly's pitch. I'm surprised he wants to have another go.
He doesn't take such active participation in the company as he used to.
Oh, is that the picture?
As I say, I'm only a recent arrival, but I got a sort of feeling. Apart from which, I wouldn't like any firm I was connected with to make a pig's ear out of anything it undertook.
No, you wouldn't, of course. Does this mean we can count you out?
No, we'll probably put in for it. I just wanted you to know how I felt.
Yes? That's very nice of you.
Well, it's up to the ministry to make up its own mind, isn't it?
Yes. Well, John, it's been very nice having this little chat with you. We must keep in touch.
Yes, indeed, we must.
How's Pamela?
What's the time?
Ten past 5. You're not very good at this sort of thing, are you?
Lack of practice, I suppose. Believe it or not.
I believe it. Women like the idea of having lovers, but when they're alone in a room with them for the first time, they're not so sure about it. Eventually, they can't wait to get out of that room again. To where everything is the same as it was before. Your sort of woman, anyway.
What is my sort of woman?
Sort of woman that would much rather not have lovers. That would much rather be completely happy with her own husband. But isn't.
I see. your grandfather teach you that, too?
No.
Please, please.
No?
No.
Do you want to go?
Please.
Shall I get you a taxi?
No. No, I don't want to go home yet. Wouldn't like to buy me a drink, would you?
Sure.
You don't seriously intend putting in a tender based on these figures, do you? I mean, have you any idea of the rumpus that this will cause if you put in this kind of price?
Yes, I shall be undercutting everybody else. I realize that. It's about time some rationalization was brought into this industry. In any case, it'll keep us out of the hands of the Monopolist Commission.
Well, I don't think you'll get it past the board.
Don't you? Don't forget that there are other people on the board now besides you and your father.
Who will no doubt have something to say about it. I mean, he's hardly likely to enjoy having the very people he's trying to get on his side coming down on him like a ton of bricks.
Kenneth, I'm doing exactly what your father wants. He wants the whole setup broken up, and so do I. When the row dies down, I think you'll see that in time.
Do you? Well, you do realize that we won't be able to carry both this scheme and the hydroelectric project.
I realize that you and I have a difference of opinion about priorities. But I don't think we should make it into a bone of contention. That only leads to bad blood. I feel that both contracts are worthwhile. I think we should go into them both more fully. I think you should go into the hydroelectric thing in some depth and draw up your figures. And I'll continue with the motorways project. Then we'll put a tender in for both and see which one comes up. And may the best man win.
I'm not much good at any of it, am I? Not even the subsequent conversation.
Don't be silly. Anyway, there wasn't anything for any conversation to be subsequent to, was there?
No.
Do you want to go?
No. Just let's sit here for a minute.
Shall I see you again?
Yes. I expect so.
But what if this hydroelectric thing does come up?
It won't.
I see.
The object of the game is to win. Young Kenneth will have plenty of time later to indulge his adoration of the Equator Equinoctialis.
Well, that will be nice for him.
Don, can you give me a lift? I had to come out by train this morning.
Certainly. So, you think the best man will win?
The best man always wins.
Splendid. Well, where do you want me to drop you?
Oh, Notting Hill Gate will do fine. Is that good?
Very good.
Good.
Did you have a good day?
Yeah, splendid. You?